Hello and welcome to another episode of the Accounting Insiders Podcast. My name is Gary DeHart. I'm the host of the Accounting Insiders Podcast and the publisher of Insightful Accountant and Tax Practice News. Our guests today are Uday Koorella, founder and co-founder and CIO of Qount, as well as Greg Pope, who is the CMO of Qount. I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Uday's in Texas. Greg's in California. So we've got the country covered from east to west coast. Just we're missing a central time. No, what are we missing? A mountain time zone. So, but gentlemen, thank you both for being here. Certainly appreciate you taking some time just to share what Qount's all about with our audience.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Absolutely. And so Greg and I go way back. We were trying to figure it out, but it's back to when I worked on Accounting Today, which was a very long time ago. I think
15 years?
Greg had hair then. No, I've been doing Insightful Accountant for 12 or 13. So yeah, maybe it's 15 or 16. Yeah, I
Okay.
think Greg had hair. I had more hair, but
Used to have a lot of hair, curly hair.
I don't think I ever saw curly hair. So all right, well, let's jump into this conversation. It is just for time's sake, it's July the 16th, 2025. So anything that we may discuss here, just recognize that things change over time. So if you're listening to this and it's December of 26, probably a lot of things have changed between now and then. But so again, gentlemen, welcome. Let's just start off with who are you? We'll start with Uday, and then we'll go to Greg. Uday, who are you, and what do you do? Kind of what's your background that got you doing what you're doing now?
Absolutely, Gary. Background-wise, technology product, Gary. Majored in mechanical engineering and operations research. Went to school starting off with a master's in mechanical, but then switched over to computer science. Majored in computer science. Graduated. Worked at various organizations leading teams. Was at AT&T for a bit, and then moved over to American Airlines, spent some time there before heading over to Intuit. That's where the core of the product journey formed, or the thinking around building products formed. And once I left Intuit, founded Qount, bringing in some of that product and technology mindset.
Okay. Were you in the Plano Intuit office or?
Yeah, I was at the Plano Intuit office. That's
Okay.
um,
And
based.
that's you're in that general area still?
I'm in that general area. I've been here for about 26 years now in the,
Okay,
you know,
gotcha.
region.
And Greg, you CMO, again, you and I know each other for a while from your SurePrep days, my accounting today, and then Canon work that I did with Canon. So you just a little bit of your background, and then we'll dive in.
Yeah, so got my start in the tax and accounting industry in 1999. Joined a very small startup called ePace Software. And we developed paperless engagement and trial balance software, which at the time was called ePace Engagement. Um, ePace was acquired by CCH in 2001. I was in a sales role at that point. I stayed with CCH through the end of 2007 and then joined SurePrep in, I think it was February or March of 2008. Um, Went through the Thomson Reuters acquisition of SurePrep, left Thomson Reuters in March of 2024. Um, Unofficially joined Qount in November of 2024 and officially in January of this year.
Okay. And your background sales and marketing, not
Yep.
technology, just
Yeah.
happens to be sales and marketing in technology.
In technology, right?
Yeah. Was that strategic or did you just kind of fall into it?
Just fell into it.
Yeah, it's like me with media. I have a degree in real estate. What
Yeah.
have I ever done with it?
Zero.
0.0, other than I've, bought houses that I've lived in. That's
Right.
about it. Or I don't know, you really buy a house, right? You finance a house through the bank and pay
Right.
the bank for your house. But
Right.
all right, so let's dive in. So you guys, so we've got a lot of experience in tax and accounting between the two of you. One more on the development side, one more on sales and marketing side. So we'll start with Uday. What brought you to, I guess, why this product and why now? I think is the best way to ask that question.
Absolutely. When we started off around 2016, 2017, what we identified were there were either legacy players that were really robust and had a lot of functionality, or there were newer, fresher products that were point solutions. That combination of modern tools, modern tech stack, easy to adopt, plus having the robustness and the comprehensiveness was kind of lacking. So that's where the journey started off, building the core pillars of your time and billing, task management, document management, CRM portions of it, and the collaboration portion, the core pillars of practice management, having all of them at one or within one platform. And then in time, we've extended that by adding an intelligence layer with the automations along the way. And then with the modern Gen AI capabilities, morphing it into a practice intelligence kind of a platform. So that's been the journey. So started off by building those core pillars, then added automation, and then added intelligence layer into those.
Can you expand on what an intelligence layer is? Because from a layman's perspective, right? Oh, I hear intelligence, but I don't really know what that means. Maybe I'm not intelligent enough to know what that really means. But from yeah, so what does that really mean?
Yeah, I know it gets thrown around a lot nowadays. So probably I will use an example, right? Um, so a traditional practice management system, there's an ability to collaborate with your clients, whether it's through portals, whether it's through email integrations or whatnot, right? The intelligence factor, what it does, it brings in insights, it brings in things like client sentiment scores. So not only does it offer the ability to conduct those activities, but based on those activities creates either efficiencies or automation, right? Points out things like, hey, here is a client whose sentiment has dipped 20 points over the last 3 months. Okay. That would be an example of an intelligence portion of it derived from a core practice management, right?
Okay.
uh, in each of these pillars, there are insights and intelligence built through AI and ML, and then there are certain that are cross-cutting, which go across all of these.
Okay. And so when you decided to go into this business, it was you kind of surveyed the landscape, so to speak, and you saw, these do it really well, but they're probably aren't going to be able to function moving forward because of the way they're built, right? And the product and their technology that they're built on.
Mhm.
Um, are you so you have the history in the space, and what when you look at when you went into the business, what was the primary problem that you were trying to solve? And there may be more than one, probably multiple things, but
Yeah. The primary problem was a typical accounting firm ran between 6 and 10 different software, uh, disparate software, not talking to each other, or requiring um, outside effort in terms of integrating those. So that was the biggest factor that we were trying to solve.
mhm,
Everything at one place, cohesive, the ability to mine on it, the ability to build intelligence on it. Those were the uh, bedrock principles that we started off. And we started off building this for one firm. The other co-founder on this comes from a service background, ran a firm of about 40 staff members. So started off building this for that particular firm for a couple of years, tweaked it, matured it before we ventured into actually selling it to other firms.
yeah. And that was when was the first client on board?
We started off around 2017, building this 2016, late 2016,
Yeah.
17, and 2019 is when we started bringing in other clients.
And this is totally irrelevant. Well, I don't want to say it's relevant to the conversation, but it's more of a question that I came up with as you were talking about that. Has the cost of implementation of building out products like this over the past like 5 to 8 years, has that gone up? Has it gone down? what does that look like?
Per feature, the cost has gone down because of various tools that have come in. But
Yeah.
also, if you compare that against the speed of delivery and things like those, we're taking on more, right?
Yeah.
Essentially. So the cost has remained the same, probably with churning out more features at a faster pace. That's
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. And again, that's just me because I know nothing about software development. So on to Greg for a minute. From a marketing perspective, I mean, it seems to me that, with software, the key is, well, somebody has to buy it first, right? And then you got to get them to use it, and you have to get them to stay around. And so as you go through that process as a marketing person, as a CMO, what does that look like? I mean, how do you find the new market, and then how do you engage them to keep them involved in the product? Again, because we use, like Uday said, people were using 6 or 8, 10 different software solutions. We use a whole bunch of software that we use about 10% of, and just don't use it for its full power. And if I'm not using it, then I'm not going to value it. So
Right.
what does that look like? And that's kind of that question came out of left field. We didn't talk about that in the green room, so I apologize if that's
No.
not a fair question.
No, totally fair. When I think about the market, it's pretty easy to address the market because most firms are either using, one of the what I'll refer to as the legacy practice management softwares like Practice CS from Thomson Reuters or ProSystem or Access Practice from CCH. Or Excel. There's still a surprising number of firms that are just using Excel to manage the practice. Um, so the firms that are using one of the legacy products are using, as you noted, technology that is 30 years old and, with no realistic hope of benefiting from this, artificial intelligence revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those products are not going to be, they won't be adding AI features to those legacy products.
Right.
So there's a clear need, whether firms that are using one of those legacy products know it or not, there is a need because firms that are using the more modern solutions are going to benefit from things that these other firms just simply won't have access to. So all of the, automation and, efficiency gains that a firm would get from using one of the more modern systems, firm won't get with the legacy system. So, huge market. And, I've been in this industry for, like I said, 25, 26 years. Uday, also, and the executive team, been in the tax and accounting industry for decades, so we know the industry well. And the benefits to using a platform like Qount, I think, are pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I just want to go back just for a second to you asked about the difference between a practice intelligence layer, and
Yeah.
practice management software. We started talking about this last year and, decided that referring to Qount as a practice management software didn't really make much sense because it's such an old term. And when most people think of practice management software, they think of one of the legacy products. But Qount is so different than those. We felt like we needed to kind of create a new category, which is why we don't even refer to it as practice management software. We refer to it as a practice intelligence platform. But for people that are listening or watching, that haven't heard that term before, all they need to
Yeah.
know is that it's essentially practice management software plus all of these, artificial and machine learning features.
Yeah. And is it built, is it exclusive in account tax and accounting, or is it similar enough in other, professions, other professional services businesses, or are you guys highly focused in tax and accounting?
completely focused on tax accounting. Tax
Okay.
accounting practices with
Yep.
workflows also in sales tax, payroll.
Bookkeeping. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And that actually brings up, so are you general ledger and tax software agnostic?
Yeah, everything that we build plays with most tax software and most GL records. So yep,
Yeah.
we are agnostic.
And again, not being a technology guy, is that becoming easier to connect to other like general ledgers or other softwares?
Um, Not yet on the tax side, because
Okay.
other legacy players still don't have the open APIs or the openness to allow data to transfer in and out yet. With
Yeah.
GL, I think it's far easier. Most of the GL systems do have API connections that allow data to transfer in and out. With
Okay.
tax, there are ways to do it at this point of time, but I think we could. I think we are ways away from having a tax technology that's open API and easy to play with other tools.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So Greg, you had mentioned people still on Excel, which brought up in my mind, as you are onboarding clients, are you or customers, are you bringing them in from existing practice management solutions, or are they people that are using Excel that have finally said, I can't take this anymore? I need more automation. I need more trackability.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the above, but I would say it's mostly firms that are coming from one of the legacy products.
Yeah.
You know, a firm, imagine, you know, a firm that's been using pro system practice for decades, and then also is now using some DocuSign for e-signatures, and using a separate document management system, and using a separate portal, and all of these disconnected systems. When they see Count and understand that it's a better practice management software than the legacy tools, and allows them to eliminate all of the other sort of tech bloat. Um, makes a ton of sense. So it's mostly firms that are coming from one of the legacy programs.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you don't necessarily have to sell them on, hey, you need to invest in this type of technology. They're already spending it.
Yeah,
And so now you can go more features and benefits, right?
yeah, exactly. In a lot of cases, actually spending more money on the 5, 6, 10 systems that they're using
Yeah.
than they would if they were using Count.
Okay. So what about somebody? So let's talk about somebody who is currently not using anything. What do they need? What's kind of the mindset that they've got to get into and understand when I bring on a practice management or practice intelligence type of tool? What's it going to do for me?
For a firm that's maybe using Excel,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
How much time do we have, right?
Right, right. I mean, night and day difference. Imagine going from using a spreadsheet, for example, to, you know, assign new work that comes in, of tax returns or financial statement prep, or GL work, whatever it is. If you're using a spreadsheet to figure out who's working on what and who's available, who's got time to work on this new job,
Yeah.
versus something that like a unified platform like Count, that knows what everybody's is on everyone's calendar, understands the experience that everyone in the office has, whether somebody has done work for this client before, or whether they really know this industry well. Imagine using some resource management tool like Count has to
Mhm.
assign work, and do it automatically. So save somebody a ton of time in just that one area. Um, Too much to mention, but I mean, it would be an absolute night and day difference between what somebody would be doing in Excel versus
Right.
Count.
Right. And is it fair to say, well, so efficiency, right? They're going to gain tremendous amount of efficiency.
Yeah,
And with the intelligence layer, they're going to be able to see, like Uday was saying, they're going to be able to see a lot more about the business, right? And how long it takes, I'm assuming, how long it takes to do a tax return. Well, why did this
exactly.
tax return take, 7 hours? It should have taken two. where's the,
how
you know,
long
where's the
to
fallout?
complete the job, how long is it taking to respond to clients in any of the, channels that Qount manages, portal messages, emails, text messages, things like that. Um, you know, Client sentiment is a thing that we do really well. So client is, responding
Yeah.
negatively to an email or, using four-letter words, might not be a happy client, probably want to address that. So these are all things that you can't really do unless you're using a really modern system like Qount.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit more, client sentiment and how that's mined. I mean, or how is it identified and scored?
Yeah, Uday, you wanna take that one?
Sure, absolutely. So again, the premise of why or how we get there is first having the ability to capture all collaboration through the platform. So you have the ability to post portal messages through the Qount platform, integrate your email so that it looks at all your email across all staff members. It's got the ability to send text messages through the Qount platform. And then finally, it pulls in transcripts from meetings that you've had with the client. Given that there is this rich collaboration data, we scan through all of it client by client and then score each interaction that you had with the client. Uh, Again, it uses some of the AI technology to go ahead and do that.
Hmm.
And then once these are scored, it assigns a client sentiment score on a month-on-month basis. Then provides KPIs and says, "Hey, here is a client whose sentiment has declined. You can query that by a partner within the firm. You can query that by a particular manager within the firm, or so on and so forth." Okay. And then it gives you notifications anytime it falls below a threshold and things like those.
And it's basing it on the tone of the email or the tones of the communications or words that are said in the communication.
That's the basis of it, coupled
Yeah.
with the understanding of the accounting and tax industry, right?
Okay.
For example, what you say in relation to accounting and tax might be slightly different from a normal email that you type out, right? So yeah, so it's going to use your tone, obviously, but also the context of what you're asking and things like those.
Right.
It
Okay.
does so, uh, uh, I was just about to add that it does go a step beyond and then also provides resolution time. Like as a client, you've asked a question, it identifies when it was answered, not by a staff member marking it as answered, but by contextually understanding the answers, and then gives you metrics around, hey, on an average, you take about 4.5 hours to respond to a client query. And if it was a query on tax, it takes you about 6 hours, kind of thing. So that's the extension of reading all of that
Yeah.
information.
Okay. Yeah, because that I think we all hear and we know, oh, these things are available, but don't necessarily um, understand how that information is gathered or how those scores are made. I mean, we know Yelp, right? I go out and I say, this restaurant was terrible. I give it a 1 star. But this is actually taking the conversations and the information and pulling context from it. Let's talk about data security. Everybody cares. I mean, we all care about data security, right? Um, I think we assume that platforms are secure and that they're doing, their jobs. Um, what does that look like today? I mean, we hear about, this breach, that breach. So it's a constant battle. That actually going back to one of my questions earlier, Uday, where I asked if the cost of implementation has gone up or down, but I imagine there's a lot of money that gets invested in that wasn't having to be invested, 10 years ago in
Absolutely.
security.
Both money and insurance, yes, that goes into that kind of stuff. Yep. Um, all of what we do is on SOC 2 certified servers, hosted in multi data centers, partner with Amazon for most of our infrastructure needs. And then, of course, um, maintaining security standards, encryption standards, and all of the compliance standards around both ISO as well as SOC 2. those are the primary things that safeguard all of the client data.
Right. Okay. Now, how about firm size? So we go across a wide variety of sizes of firms that would listen to this or see it on our site. Um, is there a target firm size or a tech stack that they currently have that makes them ideal, kind of the ideal client?
Firms that are somebody that's looking to make use of multi-platform kind of an ecosystem. If they're a multi-service firm, this is best fit for them. So I'm seeing that probably firms that are of staff users 20 or more can make best use of this platform typically.
Okay. And growth minded, right? Because I would think that like a tool, like a tool like this, and there are tools, you've got to have it, right? If you're going to grow, or if you intend to sell your practice, 10 years from now. Your competitors will have something similar. And if you aren't able to show kind of the history and able to show, sentiment, I don't even know that we fully understand how to leverage sentiment yet. But I imagine, 5 years from now, 8 years from now, that is something that's going to be a key, I don't want to say determinant, but a key factor in the value of a firm. I mean, great, you have 1,000 clients, but if nobody likes you, how much value are they? Is there, how about, let's switch over a little bit more on product and how people can kind of get in touch with you to learn a little bit more about Qount. And let's also the spelling of Qount. It is not Count.
Yeah,
It's
it's intentionally spelled with a Q. Replace the C with a Q. Qount. Yep.
There we go. All right. And so product wise, if I want to go out and find a little bit more information on it or see a demo, what does that look like? How much time do I need to think or put aside for a demo?
Well, for somebody that's interested in learning more and
Yeah.
wants to see a one-on-one demo, best option is to go to the Qount website. So Qount.io, not .com. There is a blog website on the .com URL. So Qount.io. And there's I think it says get a demo button on the website. And you click on that, submit the form. It'll take you to our advisor's calendar. So no, back and forth emails to try to find a time that works. You'll just have access to his calendar, pick a time, day that works for you. Schedule that call. It's about a 15-minute call, and
Okay.
we'll ask you some questions, you'll ask us some questions, make sure it's a good fit, and then he'll schedule a one-on-one demo. And how long does it take? Depends on how much detail you want to go into. I mean, it could be 20 minutes, could be 60 minutes. Just depends
Okay.
on how deep you want to go.
So as you get as you onboard clients, is there any particular, it's like there were 4 pillars. I'm sorry, I didn't write down the 4 pillars. Time and billing. Like
Time
so,
planning, task management, document management, collaboration.
okay. What's the most used area?
I think it depends on the firm. Some firms come to us with different pain points. Some of them have been using legacy products for document management and want to shift that over, right? Some of them are coming from, hey, time and billing is our biggest pain point. So this allows entry doors. The platform allows multiple entry doors. So somebody could come in with, hey, we want to switch over our time and billing system and then eventually catch up on everything else. We don't want to do a big bang approach of changing everything, right?
Yeah.
So depending upon the firm and what their current pain point is and the systems they use, they would typically choose one or more of these as entry points.
Okay. And from a training perspective, I think Greg, we were talking in the prior to going live on. So I onboard. I'm like, hey, this is a product for me. What does that look like after I onboard? How much time should I expect to have to spend, or do I need an individual who is kind of the point person? What does that typically look like?
In terms of timing, it's probably 3 to 5 weeks. You get connected with a customer success team, and one of the things they'll ask is that you do sort of appoint uh, or maybe a couple of sort of champions in the office, which will be the kind of the main go-betweens. And it's a combination of, talking about the firm's goals. Well, what solutions are they eliminating by implementing Count? What does the current process look like? Does the current process need to, change slightly in any way to support Count? And then, planning and actual training. So live and, recorded training modules that people can kind of do on their own. But, 3 to 5 weeks, firms can get onboarded.
Okay. And then is there ongoing training after that?
Yeah, customers will have access to the learning management system, which,
Okay.
they can go back to at any time. If they have a new hire, obviously they would go through the learning management system for training, so they'll always have access to that.
Right. Okay. And then other support, ongoing support.
Ongoing support, unlimited support, chat, phone, email, and form in the Count knowledge base and
Gotcha.
customer portal.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think we've talked about product. Well, we've talked about you guys and your backgrounds. We've talked about product. Um, Talked about where one thing we haven't talked about, and we did not discuss this in the green room, so this might be a little out of left field, but Greg, I think you mentioned that you've got people that are using Excel. We've got some people who are, dabbling in practice management. Now we have practice intelligence. The any guesstimate as to like the percentage of firms that are still in Excel,
Uh,
like
I
the addressable market, right?
Yeah. It depends on firm size. I would
Okay.
say for firms that maybe have, 10 or fewer total employees, I bet you it's 40, maybe 50% are actually using
Yeah.
Excel. Um, for firms that are, larger than that, I think the percentage drops. But when we host webinars, one of the questions we ask is what practice management software or solution are you using? And Excel is one of the answers. And it seems to be in the, 30 to 50% range every time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's as their practice management tool.
Yep.
Wow. That's I've used CRM for so long that I can't even imagine. Now, I don't, I use it probably 10% of it. It's a
Yeah.
lot more powerful than we as a company use or leverage it. But that's interesting. So that's a huge addressable market, right? That
Yeah.
now, so right now, I think Uday, you said roughly 20-ish, plus or minus employees or growth focused firm. Do you see that shifting downstream? Do you see that opening? And I'm sure it's a price issue, but do you see that becoming more available to smaller firms count, or are you going to stay in that 20 plus, you think?
I mean, even today, there are firms that are smaller than that use Qount. And the
Yeah.
key there is two things, Gary. One is multi-service, and two is the growth mindset. I think those are the two factors more than
Yeah.
the staff members, right? I think to leverage power of something like this, like you said, some path towards, hey, we growing either organically or by absorbing other firms. And we have something to, like you said, either an exit plan or a growth plan or any of those. Okay. So I think more than the number of staff, which, the number of staff is more an average number that, spans across our platform. But I think though that mindset is the key factor in firms
Right.
something like this.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's close up with how do people find you? Face-to-face events, online. We already mentioned online, but we'll plug that again. But
Yeah.
any face-to-face events planned?
We do. We have some coming up. There's a conference called the Regroup Conference in August. That's put on by the Renew Group, renewgroup.com. That's in August. We are at the Boomer Circle Summit later in August. Let's see here. There's a CPA America Leading Partners Retreat in September that we're attending. And let's see,
ASBA in November.
PASBA in November, the fall event in November. Unfortunately, not going to be at Intuit Connect this year. Not as a vendor. We won't have a booth. Hope to have that next year, but we're going to probably attend that
Okay.
event.
Okay.
Website we mentioned, Qount.io. By the way, the events that I just mentioned are listed on the events page on the website too.
Okay. Okay, great. And then this will be on our website, on our YouTube channel as well. Anything that we left out? I think we covered most. Oh, one thing that we did, I just saw it. Investment. You guys, you had mentioned before that you've gotten substantial investment. All right, so we
Yep.
hear about it, right? We hear like, oh, these guys got 2 million, 10 million, 2 million up, $2
Yeah.
billion, whatever the number is. Where does that go, and how does that get determined as a company that, okay, we have this huge pile of money. What do we do with it?
Yeah, well, I can tell you what we're doing with it. I probably maybe four things that we're doing: accelerating the AI roadmap. So, hiring developers to support that initiative. Um, just we actually improving the customer support infrastructure. We've just or actually this week are rolling out a new ticketing and knowledge base and customer portal system that I think will be really, really beneficial for customers, allow us to basically, improve the support that we're able to provide. Um, Building the customer success team to improve the, training and onboarding process, and the learning management system are all, investments that we're making today. One other thing I think that's probably important too. We've been working with a really world-class UX UI design team to reimagine the user interface to make it, more intuitive and easier for people to use. That's going to be rolling out in the next couple of months too.
Okay.
Um, Uday, did I forget anything?
No, I think you got all of them.
All right, great. Well, I think that is it for me. I've gone through all of my questions, and let me make sure I've gone through all my questions. I have. Last chance. Uday, give you last word.
This is wonderful. Thank you for hosting us. And in case again, just to make sure everybody got it right, in case you guys are trying to reach us, it's qount.io. That's
Yeah.
where you can book a demo or ask a question.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, as people start looking at this type of option for their firm, right? Practice, whether it's practice management, practice intelligence, or a combination of the two, the key is to, yes, you're going to spend money. That's cost of doing business. But I think you have to look at what the long term, is that you're getting out of that investment, whether it's better insight into your client, right? Client satisfaction, because we all know it's cheaper to keep that current client than it is to go and find a new client, right? So the more we can learn about our client from, a service like that, right? Your dashboard pops up and, Greg's a 9, but, Uday's a 2 on my client list. Well, I might need to go see Uday, right? And spend a little bit of time with him and find out what did we do wrong. And
And for the customers that are very happy, those are the ones we should be going to and asking for referrals. But if you don't
right,
know that they're exceedingly happy,
yes, that's
tougher to get.
actually a really good point. Is that something we're going to keep talking here? Is that something that you guys can facilitate as well? Is that kind of a referral or?
I don't think that Qount facilitates the referrals. I mean, it obviously facilitates the ability to identify the happiest customers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just wasn't sure. Just when you said it, made me think about it. So time, task, document management, and collaboration. And if you don't have that kind of tool in your firm, you need it. And I imagine once you onboard something like this, you probably would be kicking yourself and saying, why didn't I do this, 10 years ago?
Right.
Maybe 5 years ago. Technology probably wasn't quite there 10 years ago that would have made it as comprehensive
Right.
as they are today. So again, QUONT.io. Uday and Greg, thank you so much. I certainly appreciate your time. And we will hopefully see you out at QuickBooks Connect. I won't be at those other events, but certainly let's have that discussion later on. Thank you both.
Sounds good. Thanks for
All
having us,
right.
Gary.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.